Emerson, we don't have to wipe your hands.
I'm good. I'm good.
Edwards for Hear It Now. We are joined by Keith McCants, my Friday co-host every Friday for all things football, and we are joined by another great football player. This one did not go to the University of Alabama. He went to Auburn University, four-time Pro Bowler, and he is on this year's NFL Hall of Fame ballot. Welcome, Willie Anderson of the Cincinnati Bengals. Willie, can you hear us? Do we have you, Willie?
Yes, how you guys doing?
We are doing great.
Hey, Willie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, bro.
Great, man, great. Hey, man, it's a pleasure. I'm glad you came on the show. It's a pleasure to be able to speak with you again, and I enjoy watching you. And you was an outstanding player. And some things I want to ask you, and I'll turn over to Barry. Since Barry wanted to ask you a couple of questions first.
Well, number
Yes,
one,
of course.
You're a big fella. Now, I always thought Keith was pretty big at 6'3", 245. Is it true you really played at 340 pounds?
Absolutely. I played for that for the majority of my career. In high school, my freshman year, Keith and I from the same hometown, Mobile, Alabama. Keith lived over in Mobile. I'm actually from Pritchard, Alabama, which is like 5 minutes from Mobile.
Yeah.
But we all grew up, fans of Keith, and Keith was one of the first big guys, was the only big guy linebacker that we ever seen run as fast as he did. My freshman year in high school, 1989, I was 6'5", 275. I ended up my senior year being about 300 pounds on the dot. I was a 6A player of the year in Alabama, and had a chance with Alabama and follow behind guys like Keith McCants, but I chose Auburn. Mark was with Auburn.
Well, so I want to know, in Florida, we have Florida, Florida State, Florida, Miami, Florida State, Florida, Georgia. It's kind of the big rivalries. But in Alabama, it's really Alabama, Auburn, right? How do you choose between Alabama and Auburn?
Well, me, I grew up, I grew up hating Auburn. I grew up a Keith McCants fan, Cornelius Bennett fan, Bobby Humphrey fan, Gene Jelks, all those guys. I was fans of Alabama. But around my senior year, Auburn changed coaches, and I thought Terry Bowden was coming from. I grew up loving Florida State.
Okay, with Bobby.
Yes, and Terry Bowden, his son, came to Auburn, and I was like, wow, here's a guy who's going to come in with a new and innovative system. Because at the time, Alabama just ran the ball, ran the football, dominated football, and played great defense with guys like Keith McCants. So, me being an offensive lineman, I hadn't really seen a lot of offensive linemen come out of Alabama, and I thought the offense that Terry Ball was going to run at Auburn, which was going to feature quarterbacks being in the shotgun, which was in '93 was a real big thing back then. It's hard to believe, but back then, the spread offense was a new and innovative thing. So I went to Auburn, because I felt at home, and I felt that the offense that he was going to run was going to benefit me and get into the NFL, which it did.
Now, how did you choose? Now, Keith said he became a defensive player instead of like a fullback because he liked to hit people. Well, how did you choose to be an offensive lineman?
Well, I train offensive linemen now. I train pro guys out of my Willie Anderson Lineman Academy. I train pros, college, and high school kids. And I tell parents of middle school kids, I said, man, and parents may bring me a 10, 11-year-old kid to train. I said, no, I'm not going to train. I said, let's let God allow us to see what he's going to play. So God allowed me to see what I was going to be an offensive lineman at 14 years old. So I could have been a defensive lineman like everybody wanted to be a D lineman. I wanted to be the next Reggie White, the next Bruce Smith, all those guys. But my high school coach was a legendary coach by the name of Harold Clark. In 1988, they won the ESPN's first national championship, high school championship. And
you were an All-American in high school too, weren't you? A USA
Yes, sir.
Today.
My senior year, it was myself and Ron Pollis. Ron Pollis was the back of the year. I was the lineman of the year. And but my head coach told me, said, son, in about 5 to 6 years, you'll make millions playing offensive line. I'm like, no, coach, I'm going to make millions playing defensive line. And he said, no, you're not. And, so my high school was big enough to play only one way. Until my senior year, Keith, to tell you, my high school was a pretty big high school back then. We were, and we had enough kids for me not to play both ways. So I played offensive line only all into my senior year.
Now, when I played football, I weighed 122 pounds, and I was like the fourth string, but I was the smartest guy on the team. What could I, if I was a defensive player, there's nothing I could have done at 122 pounds with somebody your size, is there?
Well, I'll tell you a story, real quick story. My freshman year, like I say, in 1988, my high school just won the second state championship, 6A football. They had just won ESPN first national championship. So I came as a freshman. I played my freshman year. I ended up starting, and I ended up getting destroyed my freshman year. Man, we was playing big time 6A football back then. And on ESPN, I played against a guy by the name of Carl Montgomery. Montgomery played at Murphy High School. He was about 5'10", 5'11", 205 pounds, but he was like an 18-year-old senior. I was a 14-year-old freshman. Carl beat me so bad. I weighed Carl about 60 pounds.
Right.
Carl beat me about 3 sacks my freshman year.
Really?
And I woke up that night as a freshman in high school in the middle of the night, sleepwalking, trying to block Carl Montgomery. And the reason I remember that name is because I've never got beat for 3 sacks ever again in my life, but I will always remember Carl Montgomery from Murphy High School, who put that experience through me.
Now tell us a little bit, and we're, like Keith talked about some of the more specific stuff, but just in general for people that aren't like really knowledgeable about football, what's the difference between an offensive tackle and an offensive guard?
Well, just at guard, you're obviously closer to the ball, and you're in a more confined space. Those guys are the true, real maulers in football. Offensive tackle is going to be able to do both, I think, be able to block, to be able to be a mauler in the run game, but we're also going to play against a guy like a Keith McCants who may be 50 to 60 pounds lighter than us.
Right.
So they're better athletes than we are. So at tackles, a tackle has to be able to play in space and at the same time be great in the run game, but then on third down, turn around and block the same guy. Basically, pass protection is us going backwards, defending a guy like Keith McCants who's 250, running 4.5 40.
Okay.
And we're at 340 trying to defend this guy. So that's why I would tell the guys I train, offensive linemen have to be really great athletes. I mean, we really do, because we're facing guys that are 50 pounds lighter than we are, and most likely the best athletes on the teams are probably your defensive ends and your cornerbacks. Now,
you speaking of great athletes, you benched 675 pounds in your rookie season. Is that true?
Well, if Wikipedia say I did that, that's what I did.
Now, how fast?
I tell my son that.
Now,
man, get out here. My son is a receiver at Georgia Tech. And his dad.
That's awesome.
Line.
What year is he in?
He's a redshirt junior right now.
So now he's not as big as you then, obviously.
No, big guys like myself back in the days. Keith, we all love small women. So
I know it.
When you have small women, you have small kids.
Now, I take it he's probably over 6 foot tall, though, right?
Yeah, he's 6'2". He's like 6'2", 195, 200 pounds, real fast. So.
All right, Willie, I was looking at some of your clips on YouTube, and I saw where you was coaching and motivation speaking to these kids, whether it's high school and college. Explain what is your business is about, the BIG business.
Yeah, well, my business now is my Willie Anderson Lineman Academy, and you guys can find me. My website. My website is WillieAndersonLinemanAcademy.net. We train and develop high school, college, and pro offensive linemen. We also do recruiting for kids. So a lot of times, offensive lineman is the hardest position for college coaches to find kids. Everyone can find the 5-star kids, the 4-star kids, but it's these kids like my son. My son was a 2-star ranked kid, but ended up getting 30, 35 offers, but the Alabamas and the Auburns didn't offer him.
Right.
But there's a lot more than mid-majors and the Georgia Tech that offer him. So our recruiting was a whole lot different. My son's recruiting was totally different from my recruiting. So once my son got through college, people have been asking me, man, can you help my son? Because all we did with my son was train, travel, develop, and people saw me doing it with my son. They just asked me for help. So I was like, man, I can't help right now because my son is so far behind, because I spent my entire career doing my businesses and doing my football career that
right.
my son tells me 3 years into retirement he wants to play ball. So I'm like, well, look, he wants to play college ball. I said, look, I pay for everything up to that. Not paying for college. I think college is a ripoff. Not paying for it. I
would disagree with you there. I think college is good for some, but anyway.
I pay. No, college is great, but it's a ripoff. I mean, going to college is a great experience. I want my son to go to college, and that's one of the reasons we chose Georgia Tech, because of the value of the degree that he's going to get, because football is, my son is not 6'6", 340 pounds. So
right.
a football career may or may not be in store for him. But so out of my academy, we train and develop these kids, because I feel like at this level, this is where offensive lineman play is suffering. It starts with suffering from here. You know, I also travel with NFL teams in the summertime, and all the NFL coaches are mad at the college coaches. The college coaches are mad at the high school coaches. So I want to be a guy that's known for developing linemen on all areas, high school, college, and pro, and help these kids realize their dreams of maybe going to college. Or I have some high school kids who are 5'10" offensive linemen who will never go to college a day in their life to play football, but want to have the great high school experience and know what they're doing and understand what they're doing and have fun doing it and be safe.
Willie, I commend you on doing an outstanding job, and for a person to play 5 years Pro Bowl and being all pro on the NFL banner for Hall of Fame, to teach these kids the right and the proper way of how to do things. I also have a book called My Dark Side of the NFL that I just released, and I talk about the different things in that book. That then I go to different high schools, colleges, and things of that nature, and try to explain what not to do in the NFL, because there's also a dark side there as well.
Absolutely.
That everybody get caught up in. So
now, for you linemen, for the offensive linemen, you guys aren't suffering the concussions that the defensive players are you?
That's the biggest misconception in football.
It is.
The biggest misconception in football. And the NFL just now, in January, February, April, confronted that and had a big study of offensive linemen, because offensive linemen, we all been saying for years, like, why is anyone not saying about us? They're only concerned about ball carriers and defenders. We're here with our damn heads every play.
Every play we engage.
I even called into a radio show. The host, she said, well, offensive linemen, D linemen don't have this problem. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is misinformation that you guys don't know. We're in the bottom of piles. We're constantly hitting each guy's every line. So they came up with a study, these two doctors. I mean, I don't know if the NFL has released this yet, but I was in the meeting here at the Falcon Stadium with the NFL, and they had a study where NFL linemen are getting concussed. NFL O linemen and D linemen are getting concussed at 68% of the time. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
That's why you guys see the drills that the NFL came out this year and said, we're going to stop all these drills. We're going to stop Oklahoma drills. We're going to stop the one-on-one run blocking drills. They're encouraging O-line and D-line coaches to learn to take the head out of the game, because guys are getting, guys pulling. You see down in the NFL now, they haven't called this much, but they have a new rule in: if a lineman pulls and lead with his head, that's going to be a fine.
Wow. Yeah,
so football, as we know, is going to change, Keith. It's going to change from where we grew up playing it. And I think it's going to take another generation of kids who come out of high school learning how to tackle, learning how to block, and learning techniques that this generation of guys may not know.
Right. Well, it's good. It's great that you got the inside information, and with your company, you can already go ahead and start showing them and teaching them the proper way to do things.
Absolutely. I tell kids all the time, I say, if you use your head the way I use my head, you walk around with a headache all day like I do.
We're going to take a quick break. We have my co-host today is All Things Football on Friday with Keith McCants. We are joined by former Cincinnati Bengal great Willie Anderson. We're going to have him hold for us, and he's in an airport, so we really appreciate his time. We'll be back after a couple important announcements. Welcome back. Barry Edwards here at Now, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. every weekday. And you can hear us on the AM dial at 820, the FM dial at 96.7 or 98.3, or stream it live at News Talk Florida. Every Friday at 2 o'clock, we have my Friday co-host, Keith McCants, for all things football. And today we are joined by a former NFL great, Willie Anderson of the Cincinnati Bengals. And Willie, my favorite team in growing up in high school was the Bengals, because my favorite coach of all time was Paul Brown. Was he still around when you were with the Bengals?
No, he was not. I was the Bengals' first-round pick in '96. I think Mr. Brown had passed away in 1990 or 91, I think.
Okay, was his son still there, or the ownership group?
Yeah. Mike Brown still, his oldest son, Mike Brown, still owns and runs the team.
But I just thought Paul Brown was just an extraordinary coach. You know, I think he was the first one that came up with that spread offense back in the 50s when he coached the Cleveland Browns with Otto Graham. I don't know if you're...
Well, he was the first person to come up with the playbook, and he was the first person to put a face mask, I think, on a punter. So he didn't invent the face mask, but he was the first coach, I think, to use the face mask, and he came up with what we have now, NFL playbooks.
Wow. So he really took it into a more... He said, you couldn't just be a great big body. You had to be a great big body with a great big brain then, too, to play football after him.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's in football in general. Like the one misconception people have about football players that are not smart is if you're a starting football player, especially in the college, and especially if you got into college, especially today's times, you pass tests to get in college, you maintain a certain grade point average. But the workload that these college students are asked to be able to do and play football is unbelievable. Like regular people can't understand the amount of work a college student has to do in the limited amount of time they have. Then once you get to the NFL job is really a basic 9-to-5 job, which we only spend about 2 hours in the football field. Everything else is classroom, studying, coming up, evaluating other players, and so. It's so much cerebral stuff that has to go into playing football that you can't be a dumb guy and play football. And in today's time, these kids are not graduating college now in 3 years with real degrees now, because the NCAA has stopped. Guys just going to college and not going to class. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions about football players, that they're dumb guys and they're very smart.
No, every athlete I've had on, we've had Cornelius Bennett, we've had George Teague. They all seemed, Robert Jones of Dallas. They all seemed very, very bright, and that I think gave them an edge.
Yeah. So also tell Keith to quit having all these Alabama guys on the show.
All right, man. You got to line me up with some Auburn people, man. I want you to pass my number along, and we'll get some Auburn people on here.
Now, I know all those guys' names, just names.
And I said I love Paul Brown because I just thought he brought an intellectual approach to football. But the players back then, I don't know if you ever got to meet any of them. Kenny Anderson, I thought was an extraordinary quarterback.
Yeah.
Archie Griffin was a great running back and Heisman Trophy two-timer for the University of Ohio State, I guess. But he was little. Could he play football today, or is he just too small?
I mean, if you get a heart, you can play football at any level you have. No, that's another big misconception. People think about every football player has to be big. That's not true. Every football player has to have heart, determination. Yeah, sometimes size play a factor, but you have positions like running back or receivers that don't matter. These college coaches out of high school get guys out of high school, and everybody wants these 6'1", 6'2" cornerbacks out of high school.
Right.
And they're basically telling high school kids, if you're not 6'1", 6'2", you can't play at a Power 5 division football team. You can't play at the Alabama, the Auburn, the Georgia, the Florida, and all this stuff. But you ask the question, well, coach, why you want these tall receivers, tall cornerbacks? Well, the high school, the college receivers are all 6'3", 6'4", so we want tall corners. Get to the NFL, the receivers are streaks. There's very few Julio Jones. There's very few Megatrons and Randy Moss. These guys, 6'3", 6'4" receivers. I got these guys, Antonio Brown, being as crazy as he is, he's once the best receiver in football, is 5'10". The Patriots, all the Patriot guys are all 5'10" receivers.
Wow.
That understand football. I mean, all them guys, Julian Edelman, them guys are not over 6 feet tall. But So the taller corners have problems in the NFL because all these guys are 5'10". Odell Beckham is 5'11". You know.
Hey, Willie, it seems like you're still breaking down the playbook, man. You evaluate your players on every team, huh?
I have to. I still watch the game, still follow it. Like I say, teams bring us in, man, and I try to be as candid as I can on my Twitter account, and my Instagram account. So, you know, to kind of give people an inside look in the life of the NFL.
And then you have, and then before our next break, before our long segment again, it's Willie Anderson lineman.net.
So it's Willie Anderson linemanacademy.net.
Linemanacademy.net.
Yes, sir. You also can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the same name, Big Willie 7179.
We're going to take a quick break and hang on with Willie Anderson, the great Cincinnati Bengal. Barry Edwards and Keith McCants are here at Now. Welcome back. Barry Edwards for Here at Now with my Friday co-host, Keith McCants, the great number 4 overall pick in the NFL draft in 1990. And we are joined by the 10th overall pick in the 1996 NFL draft, Willie Anderson of my favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals. And then I'm going to turn it back over to Keith. So I love the Bengals. I love Paul Brown. I loved Kurt Anderson. I loved Isaac Curtis. Did you ever get to meet any of those guys? Ken Anderson?
Yes, Kenny was our quarterback coach and offensive coordinator about 3 or 4 years. So definitely around Kenny. He's a great mind, smart guy. He then left us and went to be the quarterback coach. I think he was Ben Roethlisberger's first quarterback coach.
Oh,
wow, that's great.
Yeah, so Kenny was in the league for a minute, and Kenny's definitely one of those guys that's being overlooked by the NFL Hall of Fame. You know, he was an MVP back in the days, led the league in yardage and completion percentages, and definitely a guy that should be highly considered for the Hall of Fame.
Now, you're on the ballot this year as Cornelius Bennett. Is this your first time on the ballot, or?
That's my third time.
So is third time the charm?
Never know, man. You know, there's so many great guys. It's definitely, you see this year they're having a backlog of guys. They're actually going to let 20 guys in this season.
Really?
Because of the jam, because of the log jam they have in the Hall of Fame. And so many guys like Cornelius Bennett are in the log jam. And it's really a shame because, because so many guys get overlooked, but the guys who are in are definitely great players. Guys like myself, I played with some really bad teams my first 7 years in the league when I was playing really good football. And I always say I played in the golden era of tackles. So in my division alone, I was on with Leon Searcy yesterday down in Jacksonville. And Leon Searcy played for Jacksonville Jaguars. So in our division, in the AFC Central Division,
right
before it became the AFC North, it was Leon Searcy, Pro Bowler, Tony Baselli, Pro Bowler, myself, the Bengals Pro Bowler, Brad Hopkins at Tennessee, Pro Bowler. You had Pittsburgh had some guys that were in the Pro Bowl, and also John Dawson, Hall of Fame Pro Bowler, and Tony Jones, Pro Bowler. So
wow,
in our division alone, there were guys we missed about 4 or 5 Pro Bowls because of the log jam of tackles that were playing during that time. So it's gonna be hard for some guy sitting in the room to say, well, you know, this guy doesn't have 7 Pro Bowls. I mean, but I have 5 Pro Bowls and I have 5 first-team All-Pros. And if you look at the guys I faced, the Bengals did a report on me 2 years ago. Bengals.com did. I faced 7 of the top 13 pass rush guys' numbers, and I only allowed Bruce Smith to have a sack. In my total career, I gave him 15 sacks in my total career.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I personally trained Brad Hopkins, and got him ready for the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was so proud to see him make it. I had just a couple of questions I want to ask you. Now, the first question is, on your draft day, what were you doing, or what were you expecting to go, and how were you feeling? Where were you?
No, I was home, dog. I was home. I didn't go to the draft. I thought I wanted, by that time we had moved to Whistler, Keith.
Yeah.
About 8 miles. So I wanted my whole neighborhood, man, to come experience the draft. And we had reporters from the Bengals there at my mom's house. So
you knew you were going to get picked by them?
Say again?
You knew before the draft who was going to pick you then?
Yeah, and I was hoping they could better go higher. I mean, but the Bengals were the only team saying if he's there, he's going 10. So I'm outside cutting the yard because we're having a big draft party, and Tony Dungy calls me. So talked to Coach Dungy. Coach Dungy said, "Willie, we have the 9th pick. If you're there, we're going to take you."
He was with the Buccaneers
God.
at the time?
Oh, my God, yes, because Auburn, we had just played in the Outback Bowl.
Yeah.
Against Penn State, and we had a ball down there. We had a good time in Tampa. So I was like, oh, my God, go to Tampa rather than Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati is cold as hell. I've been in Cincinnati before as a kid because my stepdad, people are from Cincinnati. I'm like, man, it's cold and gray up there. And Tampa is going to be, oh, my God. So Coach Dunley called me on draft day, man. They go, and the 9th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trade their pick for Ricky Dudley to the Raiders.
Wow.
The Raiders take Ricky Dudley with the 9th pick. Didn't pick him up. Bengals got me.
Wow. So now, so you were at home in Alabama. Now, are both of you in the Mobile, Alabama Hall of Fame?
No, I'm not in yet.
He should be.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
didn't know that you weren't. I just assumed that you were, so I'm sorry. But you are. Was that kind of fun to be hometown hero again?
Yeah, but they did a really good job of that thing. Now, what I'm not in, Keith, I'm not in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame, and my buddy Takeo Spikes, who's from Georgia, he's in the Bama Hall of Fame before I am. I'm like, wow, what's going on there up north in Alabama? But the Mobile Sports Hall of Fame is a great ordeal. Unless you realize the great amount of great players and athletes we have from our city. We have so many Hall of Famers in different sports that come from Mobile, and we all still looking for guys like Keith to get in because Keith represented a time of for a lot of those guys who came after him. He was the first big superstar in Mobile. So I know for myself personally, I was a diehard Bama fan. I still remember Keith chasing down
Shane Watson.
The receiver from Auburn, Shane Watson.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. He ran about 40 yards, chased down Auburn's fastest player. You know what I mean? So
now at the combine, do you get time for the 40-yard dash too?
Yeah.
What was your 40-yard time, if we can ask?
I ran a 5.19 and a 5.2 flat.
Now, for most people, that's still pretty fast, right?
Yeah, that's fast.
I'm
That's real fast.
3.25, yeah.
Yeah, 3.9. That's moving. Yes, sir.
And we ran that old Indy terrible turf they had in Indianapolis.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow.
That turf was hard.
So you probably ran a low 4.9, high 4.9 or something like that.
So
for
what
real.
can you do, Keith, to get him in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame? Can you make a call? Can you write a letter?
Well, I wish I could, but he already a Hall of Fame and 5 Pro. He needed to write a letter for me.
Well, we want to get you in. He's not in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame.
No, he's not.
So we're going to get Keith to write a letter to them and tell them that they need to put you in.
Man,
definitely.
At this point, I'm so mad at them right now. Like, geez, like, how do you guys from Georgia get in the Sports Hall of Fame in Alabama?
I know it, and that's something.
Now how
important? All it is the people up there in North Alabama. There's a disconnect to them. The guy in Mobile who used to pick all the Mobile guys, I think he's passed away, and so it's kind of just a disconnect of them knowing. I had a guy who sits on the board who told me, "You're in it already, aren't you?" I said, "Man, no, I'm not." He had no idea that I wasn't in it. So.
Wow. We're going to get Keith to send a letter. Now I know. Now you talk and you're rightly proud that your people never got sacked. Your quarterbacks, you're equally as a great running back like an O.J. Simpson was only great because he had the electric company, the offensive line. You're equally as important to how your backs do and receivers, aren't you?
Oh, we are.
Yes.
More important. More important.
Yes.
I mean, nothing happens if the defensive lineman stand me up and push me back in the backfield. There's nowhere to run.
Okay.
The one thing I hate hearing people say. I hate hearing this, Keith. I hate people saying, "Well, Barry Sanders had no offensive line." Hey, get out of here.
I know it, man.
He didn't have Dallas Cowboys line.
No,
but he had
didn't.
Lomas Brown, who's a Pro Bowler of Hall of Fame. He had the center. I forget his name. He's a Pro Bowler. I'm like, just because Barry was great, it doesn't mean he didn't have an offensive line.
Yeah, he did.
He was running through. Man, on his highlights, he's running through holes.
So you, and when they do a sweep, that's the tackle leading the sweep around the end for the back, right?
Well, now they don't. It used to be a guard.
It's a guard to do the pulling. I think the offensive linemen are the most underrated players on the field. And then once they moved me to defensive end, and I had to go against the offensive lineman every day, and I just give them fits. And then they are the most. The front seven is where you win the game is won and lost at.
Absolutely.
So you line up against a defensive end, not a defensive tackle, right?
I line up against the offensive tackle. I would line up against him.
Okay, so who was the greatest defensive end that you played against? Who was the toughest?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Like I say, if you go down the sack list, NFL sack list, I played and shut out the top 7 of the top 13, except Bruce Smith. So I played against Bruce Smith.
Yeah.
Bruce got a sack on me. I shut out the great late Reggie White.
Wow.
Who to me was the best player
of all time.
Best of all time.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you go on my Instagram, there's video of me on my Instagram, that big Willie 7179, of me facing Reggie White. And I tell people, yeah, I shut him out, but he beat me up.
Real bad.
Now, can the lineman hit your helmet with his fist?
No.
Okay, so they can't hit your head with their hands.
But blocking Bruce Smith, I tell people, I was 23 years old my third year. It was his last year. He was 36. He led the league in sacks. He had just played against Tampa Bay. He played Champlin. He played against a guy named by name
Paul Gruber.
Gruber, I think.
Paul Gruber.
Yeah, and he had like 3 sacks against them. And I was so damn afraid because I grew up a Reggie White fan, diehard fan. You know, wanted to be Reggie White. You know, learn about Christ because of Reggie White. And so I had to face him now. I had to face him because it was a huge big thing for me to face him. I grew up as a kid watching this guy. I got to face him now. He leads the league in sacks. I said I shut him down, but man, when he hit into me, it felt like my skeleton was moving.
Oh my God!
I've never faced anybody in my entire life, maybe Strahan, who was just as strong, but Reggie was stronger than me.
Yeah.
And he was stronger than most linemen he faced.
And just a whole lot of heart, I guess, too. Then, right?
He was a diesel out there. He was like a man among boys.
That's what he was.
So
that's what he was. It shouldn't be fair, all that stuff in one guy.
Well, you're slouch yourself. We only have 2 minutes left. We've been joined by Willie Anderson, the great Cincinnati Bengal. So we want to encourage all the sports writers out there to vote for you. If they got 20 choices, you need to be in the Hall of Fame. And Keith, you remember he probably gets to take a guest.
Or just come ask me why. I face the same guys that John the Ogden faced in the same division. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you look at it, I face the 7, the top 13 all-time pass rushers, from Bruce Smith to Reggie White to Jason Taylor to Julius Peppers to Kevin Green.
Not Derek Thomas, though.
All these guys that I face, if you talk to them, the Javon Kersey, you talk to all these guys about my play during my time. You know, when I played, I was a humble offensive lineman, and you didn't talk about yourself, but when you get old and retired now, if no one says anything about you, people will forget.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want people to forget Willie Anderson, and we don't want people that are interested, and especially if you have a child out there, or if you're wanting to play yourself, you can go to the Willie Anderson Lineman Academy.net.
Yes.
And that's also your Twitter handle and Facebook?
my Twitter and Instagram handle is Big Willie 7179.
Big Willie 7179, and
well, hey Willie, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'm gonna give you a call later on, man. How long you gonna be in Cincinnati?
I've been there for the weekend. We're doing a 100th anniversary centennial celebration.
Okay, that's awesome.
the Bengals are 100 years old.
No, the Bengals actually 50 years old. We did the 50-year anniversary 2 years ago, but the NFL is 100 years old.
The NFL 100 years. Okay.
Every team is celebrating their top players at different weekends.
Well, we want to thank Willie Anderson. Have fun at the game, celebrating your 100th anniversary of the NFL. We'll be back with just Keith and I to wrap up the hour and tell you what's happening next Friday. Thank you, Willie Anderson, and look forward to seeing you in the future. Barry Edwards and Keith McCants for here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right. See you later, brother.
All right, brother.
McCants for Here at Now. All things football every Friday at 2 to 3 p.m. We were joined by the great Cincinnati Bengal offensive tackle, five-time Pro Bowler who is on the NFL Hall of Fame ballot this year. And we wish him luck. We learned a lot about Auburn and Alabama rivalry today, but we also learned, I was not aware, number one, how mammoth these offensive linemen are. 345 pounds, 6'5", but he can still produce at a 5.1 40-yard dash in a combine. So I would equate that to like one of these bullet trains in Japan. And so they're a bullet train and you're like a jet.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're still much faster than most of us mere mortals.
Yeah, it is. Willie was an exceptional athlete. And he was, I remember in high school, I went to see him as a freshman. They said, this kid has something special. And I saw him, and he was moving then. And he had a lot of heart. And like you said, he told you the embarrassment moment. They played at this kid at Murphy High School, and he vowed not to let that happen again. And never gave up three sacks in his career. And that's saying something in the NFL. That
is true, and including shutting out Reggie White. And then he has an academy now that teaches people to be offensive linemen, the Willie Anderson linemanacademy.net if anybody's interested. And of course, we can always check on Keith McCants' book on Amazon, The Dark Side of the NFL. And Willie also told us that the linemen get beat up. You know, you would think that with the concussion it's because you're running really fast, but I guess when you're hitting something that weighs 300 pounds too, coming off the line, that's not.
You're talking about a guy who benches 600-something pounds. You're talking about the force of being in a car wreck every time you have a collision. And offensive and defensive players, they engage with each other on every play. And it's just the shiftness of the brain, which the fluid is moving, which causes a concussion.
Now you could not hit him in the head with your fist, right?
No.
But can they hit the defensive players in the head?
No, but this guy named Eric Williams did that quite often with the Dallas Cowboys.
And he got away with it?
Yeah, they caught on to him.
So their hands have to be on your body.
Yeah, he give you whiplash. He gave a lot of players defensively in whiplash.
Really?
Yeah, he did. I was one of them.
So when they come off, they're crouched down, and if the offensive lineman's going to do a play for a run, they're going to try to move you back, right?
Right, correct.
And if they're protecting quarterback, they just back up and put a little pocket, a little circle.
Well, yeah, that's when the defensive players are putting the pressure upon them, and that's when their skill and their athletic ability come in play. Because to stop a Bruce Smith or Reggie White or Derek Thomas or Lawrence Taylor coming up the corner, you got to be some type of athlete to do it over and over again, consistently.
So somebody like him and you weren't just big and strong. You had to have a lot of endurance. Now, how many stadiums, when you were training, how many stadiums did you run every day? You said
run stadiums. I run the Coliseum on every step, on every level, every step, up and down, every step.
How many times?
Just one. And then we go and push a Bronco, and then we'd run around the
Push
Coliseum.
a Bronco?
Yeah, that's one of the things we did for punishment for just missing class or being late.
I mean, this is like a Ford Bronco truck?
Yeah, Ford Bronco truck. We'd take it and push it around the campus.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I've never done that.
Then we going down the hill, you see the brake lights come on.
Oh, somebody's driving the truck too?
Yeah, they sitting in there. Yeah. Yeah, we push that sucker around now.
Wow.
That was our punishment at the University of Alabama.
To push. Well, see, everybody has their own way to punish. I've never thought about pushing around a Ford pickup truck, but I guess that's if you're big. Next Friday, we're going to take a little bit of a difference. We're not going to have a Pro Bowler. We're not going to have somebody who's a first-round draft pick or a Hall of Famer, but he is related to football, and he was particularly related to a guy named Orethanol James Simpson. His name is Cato Kalin, and he is an actor and a radio and television personality, and he testified at the 1995 murder case. He was a guest in the Simpson estate and was present at the compound on the night of the murders. So he was there in the guest house. Now, you've been on his show.
Yes, I was. I was on Cato Kalin's show.
So tell me about him.
Well, I never got to see him face to face, but I did tell off the radio. And I was going on this show, and I can't quite remember what it was. I think it was about drugs in the NFL or pain pills in the NFL, something of that nature. And I discussed that and went on to talk about that, which is in my book, My Dark Side of the NFL. And I got to speak with him a few times, and seemed like a very, very interesting individual.
So he is famous because he was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
I know it.
What was his relationship to OJ?
I wondered that too. What was his relationship? I don't know how well OJ knew him. I don't know if he was OJ Simpson's wife, buddy, friend. That was you standing.
Well, and when you look at pictures of him back in the day, and he was a good-looking fella when he was young, and he looked like your stereotypical blonde, long hair, California model. So next week we're going to find out whether he's still good-looking and how smart he is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So this has been a fun day, and it'll be fun to have somebody who actually wasn't getting beaten up and in the NFL.
Yeah.
And somebody who's been beat up after the trial. One of the tabloids said that National Examiner featured him without his shirt on and with the headline, "Cops Think Cato Did It." And he sued for libel, but was not able to, because he's a public figure, was not able to get any money. So he's famous, and he's one of the people famous for being famous, but he's a nice guy, and he's agreed to be on the show. So it's going to be interesting to be able to kind of relive what it was like for him to skyrocket, not only just in the celebrity out in L.A., but also just in the part of the American pop culture for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Which is somewhat similar to what you guys do, just in a different way.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Keith, and we will have you back here next Friday. We'll be here Monday, and we'll be tracking the trial in Tallahassee for the removal of Scott Israel as sheriff of Broward County. Barry Edwards for Hear It Now. As always, good day and good news.